Good afternoon, folks. Mark back with Tons of Gas YouTube channel. Thank you for viewing. Today we are going to review my 1991 Ferrari Testarossa. I picked this up about 2 months ago at the Amelia Island auction, along with my RS 200 over there. And I want to show you a little bit about this car. I sold my red flying mirror Testarossa because I wanted the white with the red. So I'll show you what it's all about. They made these cars up until this is the last year. After that, it became the 512. It is a flat V12 cylinder, 4.9 liter with 48 valves. It's actually got 48 valves in the engine. Pretty cool. 380 horsepower, I think around 360 pounds of torque, just shy of 180 miles an hour. So pretty cool. I really wanted the white with the red, and you can see it has obviously the old like Miami Vice style fins on the side. Pretty cool. It also had these on the Ferrari 348, which is pretty neat. Totally period correct for this time, and the Ferraris just stood out. They were extreme. They were extremely wide. They were just a special car at that time in the 80s, and it was really set the bar for like exotic cars. You can see it's running 16-inch wheels on it. One of my favorite parts about the Testarossa is the rear end. It is so extremely wide, just from the back and just from the wheelbase perspective. A lot of cars may have a wheelbase that's close to this, but to have the rear grille this long and this wide, when you're behind it, it just looks absolutely amazing. So I really like that. I'm gonna show you the engine here first. Like I said, it's a V12. So it's a lot to cram in. Obviously, people are not doing V12s that much anymore. In fact, most of the newer cars are going to smaller displacement, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder turbos, stuff like that. They're really cutting down on the engine displacement in this day and age. So the sound of it's awesome. It's a really nice driving machine. It runs even better than my red one did. So I was really happy after I bought it and was able to drive it. I didn't test drive it before I bought it at the auction, but it runs so nice. I'm glad that it is that way. So the interior, red, as I stated, I always wanted the white with the red, and I ended up finding it, and I knew that I was gonna buy it when I went to the auction regardless of what the cost was. Unless it was astronomical, I probably wouldn't have, but nevertheless, pretty neat. I'll show you a cool feature on this. All of these, my old one, the European model, did not have the automatic seat belts. This one does. So when you close the door, it automatically does the seat belt for you. Some of the other really cool features is where the radio's at. It's under this little cabin here. So it's got a Premier radio in it, which I take those out and I put in typically like an Alpine or something like that, more original to the car. And I have some of those in my garage. If not, I typically source eBay for them. Pretty neat. So my other red one was a flying mirror, so it only had one mirror on it. This is a US model, 2 mirrors, pop-up headlights. I'll turn those on for you. I always love any car that has pop-up headlights, wedge shape in the front is phenomenal. I love them. Pretty neat. It's cool to drive at night. The car has 33,000 miles on it, which I'm always one, I always drive my cars, so as long as they've been maintained And I don't mind doing the service on them because I know that I'm gonna drive them. So I'll drive them in the rain. I typically have to replace windshield wipers all the time when I first get them. I definitely drive them regardless of the weather conditions. I'll even drive them in the snow. It does have a K40 radar, so anybody back in the day that is knowledgeable about the old K40s, this is pretty cool. It has a front and rear sensor on it, and it's got the audio adjust, sensitivity. I remember back when, in the 90s when I was driving these, a lot of the grocery stores would set them off because of their scanners. But nevertheless, that's pretty cool to still have that in here. It's still functioning. This is for the engine cover, and this is for the front of the car. I'll show you that. While we're here, it is a dog leg, so reverse is up. You have to push it down to get in. So it's a little bit of a safety feature. On some of them, you'll have a flip out switch, but reverse is all the way up and normally where first gear would be. So first is down there. Once again, 5 speeds. These cars were built to go extreme. Like they were always wanting to see how fast they could top out. And this was just shy of 180 in 1991. So pretty cool. Let me show you under the hood. It's got a little bit of storage, not a whole lot. Old Pioneer CD changer. Those are the tools and everything that I got with it from the auction. You could go on a weekend trip, I guess, if you wanted to, as long as you packed lightly and, you know, not a lot of pairs of shoes or anything like that. You could probably set a pair of golf clubs in there maybe, but I don't play golf, so I won't be doing that. Nevertheless, that is a quick roundup of my car. So we'll go for a spin and show you some of the inside and some of the sounds, but I'll give you a quick startup here of how it sounds when I first crank the car. Alright, so we're gonna go for a ride here. Testarossa, automatic belts. Crank it up. The parking brake is pretty cool. You actually have to lift it up to put it back down. All the Ferraris and Lamborghinis are like that, so you can access and actually get out of the car. So, first gear, dog leg. We'll go for a little spin. So the seating in this position is pretty cool. It's like I said, it's a highway car. It's not necessarily like a really sports car. They built them for cruising at high speeds and whatnot. The steering wheel's a little tilted up, and leg room is pretty good in it. Here we go. Once you get how to drive the dog leg, it just comes natural shifting. I remember some of the first times when I was learning how to drive it, I had to mentally remember what gear I was in, because third is, you know, more like fourth, early third. So it took a little bit, but once you get it, it just becomes natural. So all of the gauges down here. You got your windows, your fan speed, you can choose between right or left mirror, the hazards. This is for your parking lights if you just wanted to leave your parking lights on. This is an adjustable suspension. This, for whatever reason, is not lighting up. I have not even tried to look at it or diagnose it. A lot of times they don't work. They're just finicky things. You've got your door locks and both your window switches. So here's your AC here for the windscreen, for the vents, recirculation, and to stop. So pretty cool. The speedo's in miles per hour. So it has a 200 mile per hour speedo on it, and the tachometer goes to 65, I guess. 6750 is probably redline, in that range. The V12 engine is so iconic for that era of car. It just sounds amazing. There's a lot of torque with such a big, with the displacement's 4.9 liters, 380 horsepower. And although the one thing about all of the Ferraris, they have the weakest horn in the world. It's, I don't know why, but it's a kind of a high-pitch circus horn. So I like to switch them out if I can and put the big train horns on them, make sure people get out of the way. This is a lap timer. That is a lap timer. So if you wanted to go around the lap, you can also, that's a reset, but it will track your laps. So I know my 16-valve Mercedes, the 1986 16-valve Mercedes that I have has that as well. It's called a lap timer for around the track. For a 1981 with 380 horsepower, it's a big, heavy car, but it was still powerful at the time. Get this Tesla out of the way. Anytime I see a Tesla, I automatically, my right foot, for whatever reason, just gives it gas. Just Tesla gas. No cruise control or anything like that. Your basic. It's got 3 stalks on it. One for your windshield wipers, your small one over here for a turn signal, and then your headlights. To turn the headlights on, you actually twist them up, and then high beams are down. A lot of the Italian cars, like my Alfa Romeos, they all have a similar stock on them to turn the headlights. You would twist forward and then typically down for high beams. So pretty cool driving car. It's so quiet. This car is, it's just smooth, it's quiet, and I can run 80, 90 miles an hour and it's still really, really nice to drive. I wouldn't hesitate to take it on vacation or for a trip. I would drive almost every single one of my cars around the country just because they're in good shape, they run well, they don't have, I try to keep them in tip-top shape. So the other seatbelt is supposed to come over and cross like this. I know in some of the Volkswagens you couldn't start the car. You couldn't start it unless this was connected. And I remember we used to put like bubblegum wrappers in there to get the connection, so you didn't have to have this in. We would put something in there, a little bit of tin foil or something, so we were able to crank the cars up. Those were probably in the late 80s. Actually, I think my 81 Volkswagen Jetta has it as well. So here's the glove box with a mirror in it. Pretty cool. So the button for that is here on the console as well. Push that. Oh. There we go. It's a pretty nice sized glove box, believe it or not. I'm not sure. The mirror's pretty cool. I don't think I have that in my 86 European model. So the air's decent for what its age is. I'll probably take it in and get it serviced, not too long, but it's decent. It'll keep you cool in the summer. Okay folks, that is my 1991 Ferrari Testarossa. We've got a lawnmower in the background, so hopefully you can hear me. But thanks for tuning in. We will be doing more videos. Please like, subscribe, and more so than anything, share with your friends. We're trying to grow the channel, so we want to keep doing these videos. I want to keep showing the garage, but we want to get subscribers and we want referrals and stuff like that. So thanks again for tuning into the YouTube channel. Tons of gas. Thank you.